What's good, Fan Nation? Welcome back to the On the Fence podcast, where we are commanding the conversation with the voices of Fan Nation. That's all y'all out there. And you. Yes, sir. We are at it. Listen, Adam Peters isn't just going shopping this free agency. He's in the grocery store with an empty stomach and a pocket full of cash, approximately $80 million to be exact. And they're planning on being aggressive. We've already seen them re-sign some of our guys like Wiley, guys like Allegretti, guys like Trey Burks, who I'm super excited about, and even guys like Dietrich Wise and Shy Tuttle. They got some guys who re-signed that are gonna end up being some nice veteran stalwart to help us build that depth up. But we're gonna go into free agency and they're gonna be very aggressive, is what they're telling us. So we're gonna take some time in this episode. We're gonna break down our wish list. We're gonna show y'all what we're hoping, what's on that shopping list for the Commanders, and how we see them potentially moving in this offseason. Now, the legal tampering period does open up on Monday, March 9th. So it's going to be a big time. You're going to see teams begin to make moves. That's when teams can officially agree to contracts with players, granted that they cannot sign them until a few days later, but they can absolutely agree to those contracts. So we're going to break down some of the things that we feel is going to happen and what's on our wish list for this off season's kickoff. So let's lock in. Let's do it. Let's see what's going to happen here with our Commanders. Raise hell.
Raise hell. Raise hell. Hell to the Commanders will prevail. Raise hell. Raise hell. Hell to the Commanders never fail.
All right, y'all. Let's start off with the offense. Now, we know that the team recently released Tyler Biotish, and that's big. Um, it caught me by surprise. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I was very shocked to hear that. But the more and more I dove into it and tried to understand the reasons why, it makes a lot of sense. With the new offensive coordinator, they're switching from a gap running scheme to more of a zone running scheme. And Tyler Biotish, though he was a good center, he wasn't a great one, so to say. I'll say he's very good though. He's great in the phone booth. He's great in that short space, creating that window. But as far as reaching over and moving laterally, that wasn't necessarily his best trait. And I feel as though that is the reason why they moved on. These are things that have been reported on by guys like John Kime and so on and so forth. Even Logan Paulson and Grant Paulson had a really good breakdown about it on their podcast. Make sure you check those guys out. Take Command podcast and check out John Kime as well too. But yeah, man, Tyler Biotish is out. So the center position is wide open. And in free agency, there are a few guys out there. Was going to talk about Connor McGovern. He was one of the guys I was really looking at, but he got signed a little bit earlier. And of course, everybody is looking at Tyler Linderbaum. Now, Linderbaum, I get it. We got the money. He's the hot pick, but I personally don't see the team spending that money to get him because it's going to be upside of 20 something $million. And I think McGovern just signed for like 18 million a year. So I don't know if the team's willing to spend that much on there. Hence why they probably re-signed Allegretti, because some have said that Allegretti has been reported that center is his best position. He feels as though that's the position he can play well. I mean, even Andrew Wiley said it, and those two are boys. Remember, they came together from the Chiefs. They won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs together. So they hang out. They're pretty close friends. They're best friends, so to say, as what uh, Andrew Wiley. Sorry, I don't know why I keep calling him Tyler. I'm thinking about Tyler Linderbaum, call it Andrew Wiley Tyler. But yeah, Andrew Wiley said it himself that he feels as though Allegretti could be a great center. Allegretti feels he could be a great center. So I feel like that signing was to be an insurance policy and maybe to see what we really might have. But yeah, Linderbaum is the big name out there. As much as I would love it, we're talking about dream teams and just anything can happen on some Madden type stuff. I'm all with it. But realistically, I'm not sure if that's the direction that this front office is going to go. I could be wrong, but he's out there. He's the top pick when it comes to center. Now, moving on from that, there are guys like Cade Mays out there. There's also guys like Cushenberry, who was the Titans former center who also got released. So I think Cade May out of those guys would probably be my value steal. He's a young riser who's proved that he could play at a Pro Bowl level. So I would love to see them go get a guy like that. Linderbaum would be nice. I just personally don't think. I think he might be just a little bit too rich for AP's blood, but who knows, right? I could be completely wrong. I do feel like the Ravens are going to end up re-signing Linderbaum, especially now that they got Max Crosby. They're about to sign an extension with Lamar Jackson. things are moving well in Baltimore. I actually saw people people were clowning on the internet talking about somehow the Max Crosby jersey and camel pants is gonna be the new Dundalk tuxedo. If you know, you know, y'all. That's gonna be hilarious to see that out there. Shout out to my folks out in Baltimore though. But yeah, man, the first thing in this offseason that we need in free agency, first thing on our wish list in the offense is that anchor, and that's our center position. And my prediction or my hope is going to be a guy like Cade Mays. I really want to see that happen. And in the worst case scenario, we know we have
Nick
Andrew Wiley,
Allegretti.
but if we're deciding to go in that direction, don't be surprised if they get a guy like Slaughter out of the draft who can be some competition. They're gonna bring in some competition for
Nick
Andrew
Allegretti.
Wiley. And who knows, maybe Brandon Coleman kicks out to center. Who knows? Maybe Chris Paul comes back at left guard, or Andrew Wiley can play left guard, or Allegretti can play left guard. Who knows how that can go? And that's one reason why I love the re-signings we've made so far. It gives us some flexibility to move in multiple directions as things go on. Now let's talk about another thing that we were lacking last year, and that's our receiver room. We need a track team in that receiver room. So when they're talking about wish list, you know everybody's talking about Alec Pierce. He's the person when you talk about track team, he has great vertical speed. He's not necessarily the quickest guy, but he is fast. Fast. I mean, fast. So I can see him being somebody that the team goes after. But if that bidding war, since he's top on a lot of people's lists, if that bidding war gets out of hand, I can easily see AP backing on out of there. So that's going to be something to watch out there. I know everybody's talking about Alec Pierce. He's a nice deep threat. I would love to have him on the team, but who knows if that bidding war gets a little bit too rich for our blood. I mean, he granted he's great and with the things he's done, but I personally don't feel like he's proved enough just yet to warrant a $26 million a year contract and so on and so forth. So I don't know if that's going to be the path we go. It will be nice. I like the guy, and I think he'd be a great vertical threat for JD, but who knows how that goes. The guy that we're all talking about for sure is Brandon Aiyuk. We're going to be on Aiyuk watch because of the way things have gone, right? We know his time in San Francisco is pretty much done. That's no questioning it. He's been working out. He's shown that he's healthy. Shout out to Lake Lewis and Rio Robinson. They actually broke it on their show that he's healthy. He's working out. He doesn't want to be with the 49ers anymore. He absolutely wants to play with Jayden. So let's see if AP will be able to make that dream come true. Now, if that does end up being the case, my prediction is honestly that he's going to be on a prove it deal. I don't believe that they're going to go out and pay Aiyuk big money, right? I think based off of the things that have happened, the injury, it's going to be a 1 year prove it deal, maybe somewhere in the, I don't know, low end $8 million range, high end probably like 15 to 20 something. And that I think that might even be too rich for a guy who really needs to show you he could still do it. So I do look for Aiyuk coming on and maybe being more affordable than some may think. Now, we're talking wish list, right? In the dream scenario, we are able to get Aiyuk, especially at a great price. There's some other guys that we can also get with there. I don't believe we're just gonna add one receiver. I think we're looking to add another like two or three. And signing Trey Burks was sweet, but I think he's gonna be more of your fifth or sixth guy on this roster, which is a great thing. Having Trey Burks be the floor is always a good thing. You can only go up from there if he's your fifth or sixth receiver on your depth chart. The guys that I'm looking at, honestly, are going to be guys like Jalen Naylor, Romeo Dobbs. I'm also looking at Wan'Dale Robinson, even though I do feel like the price on him might get a little bit expensive. I've heard people talk about Jawan Jennings in this position, but I personally really like the idea of pairing up Ayuk, Terry, and Jalen Naylor. I think that would be fire. We're talking about a track team. Oh, another name, Rashid Shaheed. He's another person because he's a 2-for-1 special. He's not only going to fill in a speedster deep threat receiver, he's also great on return. Him and Jalen Lane, talk about all pro return team right there, man. That's going to be beautiful if that does come to fruition. So I'm going to be watching that receiver. My top pick is Jalen Naylor. He's the sleeper. Louis T on one of his live streams broke it down in a way that really opened my eyes. I honestly wasn't even thinking about Jalen Naylor until I heard Louis T talking about it, and it made so much sense. Think about it. He's a guy who's been behind Jettas this whole time. He got a chance to work in that offense. Durante Jones knows about him and could easily be like, yo, Naylor, he works. We've seen what he's done. We've seen him come up. He's been behind Addison. He's been behind Jettas, and he's been learning. Imagine pairing him up with Terry and JD and Aiyuk. Man, man, oh man. Another honorable mention, even though I know reports are that he's likely not going to be with this team. I would love to see Deebo Samuels come back, especially if we could get something like Terry Deebo and Ayuk. I'd be with it. A lot of people are out on Deebo, but I personally still think he has enough left in the tank, and I think he's going to come more affordable than people may think, especially since he loves playing in DC so much. I don't know. I'm looking out to see what that works. Hopefully, something works out with Deebo because honestly didn't think he got a fair shake at it last season with all the injuries and things that happened with Terry. I think if him and Terry would have been able to play a little bit more together, we would have seen Deebo be even better than what we saw, especially with this new switch that David Blau is going to have more under center. I do think Deebo is going to be able to thrive in that system. So look to see that happen, maybe or maybe not, right? I personally would love to have Deebo Samuels back in there. Now, let's keep this wish list going. I don't want this episode to be too long. I just want to give y'all some things to watch for as we go into free agency because it's going to be exciting, right? Teams been talking about being aggressive this whole offseason. So this is the time where they're really going to get a chance to put their money where their mouth is. So uh next thing that we know we need on offense in order to kind of get this dream team and get Jayden this turbo boost, so to say, on this wish list, we need some help in the backfield. At the current moment, my boy Bill is the only running back that is signed on this roster. And I love Bill. I think Bill has so much potential. Sky's the limit. He's a friend of the pod, but he needs some help. He can't be the only person out there. We all know that. And the first guy on my list is Rachaad White. Why? Because Rachaad White wants to be here. He wants to play with his boy Jayden Daniels, and we can have a nice little ASU Sun Devil reunion here in DC by having three guys who played together in college, who want to play together in the pros. And that can only be good for morale, right? For the guys who are worried about Aiyuk and his mental, imagine him having two of his old teammates there that can help stabilize him and help him feel more comfortable. Sometimes all guys really need is a second chance and a change of scenery to really thrive and hit that next level. So I'd be looking for them to sign Rachaad White. He's my number one pick when it comes to running backs out there. Now, I know everybody is fawning over the recent Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker the third, aka K9, Mr. Dog himself. That boy good. And I would love to have him in our backfield as well. I just don't know if once again, that might be a bidding war. And I know we're ready to spend. I don't know if that's going to be somebody we'll be able to land. I could see him coming to either us, the Chiefs, or the Broncos. Those are some teams that I think will really go out and try to get him. Hey, maybe even the Jaguars, especially since they're out on Trevor Etienne. Speaking of Etienne, another person who I would love to have here in DC as well. Etienne could be a great pick as far as being explosive. He's a home run hitter. He has great hands. He has great yards after the catch. He forces a lot of yards after contact as well too. So those are some guys that I'm really watching too. Those are a little bit on the higher end of guys. Rachaad White, I like his passing ability. Great third down back. He can also run really well in between the spaces as well. But I want to see us bring back some of our guys as well. Maybe McNichols, but especially C-Rod. I felt like C-Rod was just getting going, and I would love for him to be part of this backfield mix that we will get together. But that Sun Devil connection is my number one wish on this list for us in the backfield. And let's see if AP is going to make it happen. Monday is going to be so exciting. That's one of the first ones I want to hear is Rachaad White. He already changed his profile picture. You got a picture of him and Jayden up there. Somebody tweeted like, yo, we got some mumbo sauce and wings and stuff. And he had a picture of a plane taking off. Man, he's ready. Bring that boy home. Let's do it, AP. Come on, dog. Let's get it going. So we talked a lot about the offense as far as our wish list goes. We covered the center position. We covered the wide out. And we also talked about the backfield. Let's move on a little bit and talk about the defense. Now, defensively, we know we brought in Durante Jones, and Jones is looking to set up his island, baby. You know, Durante Jones comes from that Brian Flores, that Zimmer system where those guys like to really disguise things. They like to use their secondary creatively. They like to have a nice front seven. It's going to be a little bit more of a 3-4 multiple system. And in order to have the island, you need a cornerback. You need a true lockdown cornerback, somebody who can hold it. And they like those long, rangy guys. Jalen Watson is a perfect prototype for that mold. He's physical. He's a press man cover, and Durante Jones could use him to unlock those blitz packages. So look for them to get somebody like that. Jamel Dean is also somebody. He's a little bit more of an older vet, but he can get it. He can get it done on there, right? There's some guys out there who can really make it happen. He's the number one corner ranked on there. He's not that old. Sorry, I was mistaking him with Rasul Douglas, who's another person on my list on there. But Rasul Douglas is more of an older guy. If we went that route, I'd want to see him more on like a 1 year deal. But Jamel Dean is one of those guys as well, and also my boy from um the Saints, Alante. Alante is another person who I also would love to see on there. I don't know why I'm blanking the link. Let me pull it up for y'all. But Alante from the Saints is another person who I think would be a great fit into this system as well when it comes to it. Also, um, from Seattle, what's his name? That's blowing me right now. Why am I Tariq Woolen? Tariq Woolen, it would be another guy that I would love to see them go after in this free agency in order to set up Jones Island. We need another corner. We all know that. I'm not quite sure where they're gonna play Mikey, if he's gonna be inside or outside, but regardless, it can't just be him and Trey out there. We need to add more star power, more playmaking available, but ability here in our secondary. Man, I can't get my words out right now, but we need to have more playmaking ability in our secondary. And I think some of those guys that I mentioned, specifically the guys like Jalen Watson, Jamel Dean, Reek Woolen, those guys, Alante Taylor, those are all guys that we could really utilize in this system with Durante Jones. And we know he's a DB guru, so I know he's going to help out guys like Trey Amos and Mikey Sanders still, but having guys who can really be capable and be left out on the island is going to be important. And I know Mikey's going to develop, especially in the slot or even being having that inside outside versatility. That's going to be really good. And I'm interested to see how things are going to shake out here in the DB room. That's probably going to be one of the low key positions that I'm watching closer than anything else. Now, in order for the island to work, they're going to need some time for people to travel onto that island. That's going to all come from our closer, and that's the defensive end. We're going to need some high motor guys on the defensive end. And the first person who comes to my mind is Jalen Phillips. He's young, high motor. Granted, he had a little bit of a shaky injury has background, but we know he has a high upside guy. And I think having Jalen Phillips on this team is definitely one of my number one edge rushers on the wish list. I also like the idea of Odafe Owe. I think he would fit in really well with what Dan Quinn and them like to do, in the sense that he could drop back and do a little bit of coverage as well too. Kavan Chasen from the Patriots, he's another guy that I'm watching. I think he can really be viable on there. Now, he had a great season, 7.5 sacks. I think he tied for highest pressure rate, for highest pressures in the NFL last season at 20. So he's making things happen. So he might end up costing a little bit more than people need, but I really like chasing. I don't hear a lot of people tying him to us, and I think that he's the perfect move that we can make as far as the pressure. If you watch that boy's tape, he's flying around, man. I would love to have a guy like that on our team. He could be somebody who people don't really think about on there. I know Grenard is another person who people have mentioned if he's going to be available. And now, if we have to trade for him, I don't know how that's going to happen, but if they do release him, that would definitely be something I could see us doing, especially since him and Devontae already have a connection, as him being there with him for 2 years already in Minnesota. Now let's move on to the green dots. We know Bobby is getting a little older, and I personally would love to see Bobby return, but in a different role, probably, right? I don't anticipate, based off of what I've seen in the Minnesota system and everything, they need more of a faster guy in the middle. But Bobby was playing out of position a lot last year. And I think if you bring him in and let him take a role that he's on the first and second down guy, and he can really get after things and he's being blitzed a little bit more, I think Bobby can be effective and I would love to see him back. But the guy I really want to see us go out and get is Quay Walker. I want that. Quay Walker would be perfect. I think he would fit in so well. He's fast, 128 tackles. He's 26. Come on, y'all. Like, we need that. Go. Those are the type of talents we need because we do need to get younger, and he could be the future. Now, I I honestly could see us having both guys. I could see us keeping Bobby Wagner, having Lou, having McGee, having a guy like Quay Walker, I mean, or even going out and getting Devin Lloyd. You can have that. But even if we sign a blue chip, a star at Mike, I can still see a scenario where we keep Bobby Wagner, especially if he's in a different role. He'd be a great mentor. He's kind of like a coach on the field. And I think in the Durante Jones system, he'll have an opportunity to thrive because I don't think they will put him in positions where he has to be in coverage very often. So that could really open things up, especially if we bolster our line and get some pass rushing going. So we talked a lot about some of these defensive guys, and I think that it's a really good outlook on there, right? Make sure you check us out on Instagram. If you're not already following us here on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as well as on X, because as time goes on, that's where we're going to be breaking news. We're going to give you all more information as things are happening in real time. So definitely make sure you check that out. We'll also put up some visuals and graphics for our wish list as well as things start to unfold a little bit more on there. So take a look on what we have going for it and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. That's always going to help us out on there. But that's my opinion. That's my wish list as far as what I want to see the Commanders do in this free agency. Before we get out of here, let's talk a little bit about what they're going to do in the draft. Now, we're going to be at number 7. And if our wish list comes remotely to fruition, it's going to open us up to really not have to draft for need per se at number 7. We'll be able to be luxurious and go for best player available. Now, the fan base has been clamoring for what's his name? Jeremiah Love. Everybody's been talking about Jeremiah Love, right? Everybody's been talking about that boy. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad at it per se. Now, is that where what I want us to do? That's not what I want us to do. But if you tell me I can get a guy who is Bijan-esque, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, that guy who can really change your offense and break it in. Have you seen him catch passes? He could be a receiver if he wanted to. He ran a great 40, what was it, a 4.36 or something like that. He has all the tools. He'd be a great luxury pick. Imagine having to deal with him, JD5, Terry, Aiyuk. Oh my God. Like it would be crazy for teams. So I do understand that. But at number 7, the guy that I really like as a blue chipper, and I don't even know if he'll make it to us, I really like Sonny Styles at that spot. Man, Sonny Styles would be perfect when we talk about linebackers and having somebody who can drop in the coverage, who's young, flying around. Sonny Styles, man, he's it. And especially after I found out that his name Sonny is a nickname because he was a hothead like Sonny from The Godfather. So his dad called him. I was like, oh yeah, bring him in, man. Bring him in. Bring him in. Just keep him away from any train tracks. If you know, you know. But yeah, man, I would love to have Sonny Style. I would also love to have Arvell Reach. Matter of fact, anybody from Ohio State at 7. Give me anybody from Ohio State at number 7. I'm okay with it. Give me Downs. Give me Tate. Give me Reese. Give me Styles. Anybody from Ohio State at number 7, and I'm cool with it. I'm 100% cool with it, and I feel as though if we make a good free agency, like I feel like we're gonna have, they're talking about being aggressive. If we fill in those spots effectively, we're gonna really be in a position to go BPA at number 7, or perhaps even trade down. Right? Maybe we trade down and grab a tight end or grab somebody like Denzel Boston. Who knows? Right? We're gonna have so much possibility if we really nail this free agency. So that's going to be something to watch out for, y'all. Monday is the beginning. That's going to be that legal tampering period. That's really going to set things up for the future. So keep your eyes peeled. Stay tapped in with us here. Let us know in the comments. Do we move back from 7 and get a second round back? Or do we stay and take a generational talent? Let us know your opinions. Let us know who you have on your wish list for the Commanders in this offseason. And we will see you on the next one. We'll keep you posted with more information. Like I said, make sure you tap in with us on Instagram and X, as well as here on YouTube, and we'll keep the good vibes flowing. See you all on the next one. Monday is going to be lit. We're going to be right back with more information as it breaks. So stay tapped in. Raise hell, raise hell. See you later, fam.
Raise hell, raise hell. Hell to the commanders will prevail. Raise hell, raise hell. Hell to the commanders never fail. From kickoff to the final play, we're here to win. Come with me. Together strong, we'll blaze a way.